What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Down Once More. I'm your host, Matt, and it is time to do another episode exploring what's coming to streaming and theaters this month. Now, this will not be a comprehensive list. If it's your first time with us, I'm going to go through the main things that excite me, the main originals coming to these streaming platforms or theaters, and those I'll give a little bit more details for. Other streaming platforms, they usually have big, massive content drops on the first of the month, so I'll be highlighting those so you'll know everything that dropped today that is worth watching. And then if there's anything I missed, let me know in the comments. But otherwise, there are time codes in the description of the episode, so skip around to the streaming services you want, or watch all of them and see which streaming service you think you need to get this month. Two that I'll say right off the bat I think are worth it are Netflix and Apple TV. So let's get into why. I like to kick off these episodes with a little bit of a recap of what I watched this past month, whether that be from new releases, drops, or just things that I finally got around to on my queue. A couple news things first. They announced that the pro shot of Hadestown on the West End, starring Reeve Carney, Ivana Wazada, Patrick Page, that is coming to theaters July 24th. So a little bit of an early preview for that. And I'm pumped. While I really enjoyed the tour cast that I saw, and I talked on here, I wish I could have a pro shot, a recording of them. I will be excited to see some of these Broadway vets and people who originated the roles on Broadway on screens, and just a chance to enjoy this musical time and time again. So I am very excited for that coming out later this summer. We would definitely be talking about it on the pod. I also have to call out, because this is a musical TV media podcast, I know that I'm not the target audience of this movie, but The Rock's look as, or Dwayne Johnson, as he is being billed, in Moana as live action Maui is just so disconcerting. I don't know if it is the wig with his skinny rock face. I don't know if it is the fact that in live action, the fact that Maui doesn't have nipples is weird. I don't know if it is the suit that they have him in with the tattoos. I don't know if it's that when he turns into a shark, instead of it looking like a fun, playful cartoon, like in the animated movie, that it looks like a hammerhead shark and just looks weird and kind of freaky and scary. I don't know. I'm sure the vocals will be amazing. The actress who's playing Moana sounds amazing in the songs in the trailer that we get. But man, I feel like we don't need this movie. And there's some uncanny valley stuff going on with the Rock. I don't like it. And that's just me being cynical. Kids will probably love it. They are the target audience. But for me, that's the main thing. It's all I could think about during the trailer. Everything that distracted me in the trailer is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Maui in live action looks rough, in my opinion. Things that I watched this past month, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Anaconda, Jack Black and Paul Rudd. Not nearly as funny as I think it thought it was. It had so much potential. I don't know if it's because they wanted to keep it PG-13, so they didn't lean into that little more like R-rated Tropic Thunder level kind of tongue-in-cheek humor with it. I did not laugh out loud a single time during this movie. It was rough for me. Disappointed in that. I have been watching Monarch, Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV. This was one, the first season aired a couple years ago. Second season just started up this past month. And man, this is an ideal series for me. I feel like the pacing is good, the action is good, the storytelling is good. It's building on that Monsterverse and kind of the different theories that we've seen in the movies across the various Godzilla and Kong movies, and kind of building on that lore and the history of Monarch, the organization that studies the Mutos. And I've really enjoyed it so far. And I like that they have Wyatt Russell playing the younger version of his father, Kurt Russell. I think that's a lot of fun. as well. So really been enjoying that. I finished season 1, going to be starting up season 2 here shortly. But so far, big fan of that on Apple TV. The other 2 things I really watched this month were a couple HBO series that are still ongoing. DTF St. Louis with Linda Cardellini, Jason Bateman, and now I'm blanking on his name, David Harbour. I'm 5 episodes in, and I can't decide if I love or hate the series. And so I'm going to fall in the middle of them, indifferent. Every episode, I find myself annoyed with how kind of slow it is and how dry the humor is. But like, it almost feels like a little bit of I Think You Should Leave with how awkward it is. And I don't know. Like, there's the mystery at the heart of it, and I am intrigued by the mystery. In every episode, you keep unraveling a little bit more. But I don't know. There's something about it that's just keeping me from getting into telling people you need to watch this show. I'm gonna need to see how they land the plane in the last 2 episodes here. The other one that I'm not fully caught up on is Rooster with Steve Carell. I absolutely loved the first couple episodes of this show. It is funny, it comes from one of the producers of like Shrinking and Ted Lasso, and it's just nails that kind of vibe. Steve Carell is amazing in it. I'm a big fan to see where the rest of the series goes. So those are kind of what I watched this month. Top recommendations out of there are Rooster and Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Think you should be checking those out. All right, let's dive into Netflix. Today, on the 1st, they dropped Along Came Polly, Mission Impossible 1, 2, and 3, as well as Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation, Bohemian Rhapsody and The Wiz for kind of the musical fix there, and then Season 4 of Love on the Spectrum, the reality dating series, premiered. On whatever day the 4th is, I think that's next week, Sunday? Dates hard. I should have a calendar in here. But the Pro Shot of Merrily We Roll Along that Sony Pictures did is coming to Netflix. So I'm glad that is getting a wide release, that it's not getting buried on Broadway HD. Now, I have to be honest, it's not typically the style, the genre of musicals that I tend to gravitate towards. I tried watching this once when we were in the hospital, actually, and just I couldn't get into it. I don't know if it was the right mood, mindset. I will try to watch it and do a review. I'm not sure who I'll pull in to do that with me on here, but stay tuned, watch for that. You can check it out. Jonathan Groff, Daniel Radcliffe, and Lindsay Mendez starring in that one. On April 7th, the lion thriller with Idris Elba, where there's a lion attacking people, Beast, comes to Netflix. On April 8th, docuseries, Trust Me, The False Prophet. This has a cult expert that embeds her and her husband, into the FLDS community, and it looks intense. Anything kind of diving into cult is like very scary, but it's interesting and intriguing to see how everything kind of comes together and what people tell themselves and how they get caught up in that kind of environment and how people believe people to be true prophets and everything. So very intrigued by that. I'm not usually a big docuseries guy, but that one has me a little bit interested. On April 9th, the John Krasinski and Ryan Reynolds movie, If, Imaginary Friend, comes to Netflix. And then a new series with Dan Levy of Schitt's Creek fame, son of Eugene Levy, Big Mistakes, come out. There's a new comedy series. I'm really excited for this. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. A little bit of a crime thriller drama with the comedy in it. I'm excited for it. Dan Levy plays a priest. On April 10th, Netflix original shark movie, Thrash, comes out. This stars Jamin Hansu and Phoebe Dynevor. Phoebe. And it's where a Category 5 hurricane is hitting this town, and then a meat truck hits a statue and puts blood on the water, so sharks come. And so I love talked about it last month. I love a good creature feature, especially a shark attack movie. What I don't necessarily love is when we need add in some over the top human drama elements to compel it, like Phoebe's character in this is pregnant and dealing with trying to have a baby with the shark's attack and the hurricane. I don't know that I need that extra drama. Just give me the shark drama, not the pregnant drama. But that's just me. Scream, the 2022 one, the soft requel, as they called it, came out. And then season 2 of Temptation Island premieres, the US version, not the crazy Spanish one with Montoya, por favor. Is that what it was? I just remember it was viral and I used to quote it, and now it's already out of my lexicon. On April 11th, Quiet Place Part 2, which they just announced Part 4 is going to be coming out. April 13th, the Noah Kahan Out of Body documentary comes out, kind of following him and his journey on tour. On April 16th, season 2 of Beef premieres. This is an anthology series, so this season features Oscar Isaac and Carey Mulligan in it. I really enjoyed season 1, and so I'm excited to see what season 2 brings. April 17th, Roommates debuts. This is a new Netflix original movie. It stars Sadie Sandler. It's produced by Adam Sandler. But Sadie Sandler and Chloe East play roommates. It looks like a fun kind of coming-of-age college comedy. So should be a good time. April 19th, the horror movie Him comes out. And then April 20th, something that we don't really have any details on, Funny AF with Kevin Hart, a new series premieres. On April 21st, Unchosen, another Netflix original series. This is a psychological thriller series that follows Rosie, who is someone in a conservative Christian cult who meets an escaped convict, Sam, and it kind of unlocks something within her. They're very cult heavy on Netflix this month, but this series looks very interesting and intriguing. I'm excited to check it out. On April 22nd, This Is a Gardening Show with Zach Galifianakis comes out. Zach Galifianakis taking kind of his staple comedy from Between Two Ferns and going to learn more about gardening and growing fruits, vegetables, interviewing people about that, sustainability. It looks actually interesting and informative and entertaining. So kind of excited for that. On April 23rd, Stranger Things Tales from 85 debuts. This is an animated series that takes place in 1985, Hawkins, and features the characters from Stranger Things, but it has all different voice actors, which I don't know how to feel about that, but Jeremy Jordan does play Steve, so I have to at least co-sign that, because I will co-sign anything Jeremy Jordan is in. And also on the 23rd, season 2 of the series Running Point. This has Kate Hudson. She plays the president of the LA Waves basketball team. She had to step up in season 1 after her brother, who ran the team, goes into rehab. And this is just continuation of her proving herself as the right person once her brother's out. So looks interesting. I didn't get to check out season 1. The trailer for season 2 has me interested. On April 24th, a new Netflix movie comes out, Apex. This stars Charlize Theron as an adrenaline junkie who's kind of setting out to conquer this river and this treacherous trail. And Taron Egerton plays this kind of creepy Australian guy who starts hunting her. So it looks intense and like a kind of gripping thriller. I love Taron Egerton. I like Charlize Theron a lot too, so I'm excited to check this one out. And then the final thing on Netflix is April 30th, the Man on Fire series premieres. This stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as John Creasy. It's kind of a reimagining of the 2004 Denzel Washington movie. So I'm a big fan of Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, so I am excited for this show. It looks like it's got some great action, some great acting. Should be a good time. Over on Apple TV, April 3rd is the first thing of note, and that is the season 2 premiere of Your Friends and Neighbors, starring Jon Hamm. On April 10th, a new Apple original movie with Keanu Reeves comes out. It's called Outcome. Keanu Reeves stars as a Hollywood star who is having to kind of face his past and things he's done and seek atonement from it. It stars Jonah Hill, Cameron Diaz, Matt Bomer, and it looks like it should be a good time. It is star-studded, and I'm a big Matt Bomer fan. I started kind of following his work a little bit more in White Collar. Huge fan. He plays Neil Caffrey amazingly in that USA series. So I'm excited to see this movie. On April 15th, a new series, Margot's Got Money Troubles, debuts. This stars Elle Fanning as Margot, who is a mom a young woman who had promise, got pregnant, had to drop out of school, take care of her kid, and decides to start an OnlyFans to make money and just kind of survive and make a life for herself. It also stars Nicole Kidman, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Nick Offerman, who plays a former professional wrestler. So I will definitely be checking this out. It looks like it's going to have heart, it's going to have comedy, and it's something that happens these days. So I'm excited for that. On April 22nd, season 2 of Criminal Record comes out. This is a British crime drama. It stars Peter Capaldi and Cush Jumbo. They play detectives in a kind of a tug of war over an old murder conviction that Peter Capaldi's detective had gotten. And then April 29th, something that is very kind of under wraps right now. All we've gotten so far are 2 kind of sneak peeks that total like 2 minutes total and reveal absolutely nothing. And that is the series Widow's Bay. It stars Matthew Rhys, who was great in The Americans. He was great in The Beast in Me over on Netflix with Claire Danes a couple months ago. And this show is about a skeptical mayor who leads the superstitious residents of a cursed New England island. So that's all we have. We have that little like 1-sentence summary and 2 very untelling teasers. One, like a tornado hurricane emergency siren is going off in a rainy city. And the other one is an old man in like a VHS style Twin Peaks feeling kind of intro. Welcome to Widow's Bay. So I don't know what to expect from this, but it's an Apple TV original. They usually crush it, and Matthew Rhys is on a heater, so I'm excited to check it out. That does it for Apple TV. Let's jump on over to Prime Video. On April 1st, so today, they dropped a number of things. They dropped Two Guns, American Fiction, both the 1988 and 2019 versions of Child's Play, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is a classic Disney musical that I grew up on. I don't know when that originally came out. I think the 80s, maybe even the 70s, or no, probably earlier than that. But it doesn't matter. Cowboys and Aliens, Dances with Wolves, Ford versus Ferrari, Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, which is a very kind of fun, a good war movie I enjoyed. Jesus Christ Superstar, just in time for Easter, both the 1984 and 2012 versions of Red Dawn. Selfless, which was a decent sci-fi thriller, kind of action movie with Ryan Reynolds. Spaceballs, both the 1979 and 2005 versions of the Amityville Horror. The Menu, which is one of my favorite kind of drama thrillers. The Sandlot, The Terminator, Titanic, Top Gun, which is a classic that I say does count as a musical movie because the main characters sing at least 3 times in it. Walking Tall, the 2004 version, and then Wrath of Man, which is another kind of fun Guy Ritchie movie that I enjoyed. On April 3rd, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning comes out, which I still haven't watched. I need to get around to doing that, but I want to rewatch Dead Reckoning, and just finding the time to watch both of them hasn't happened yet. On April 8th, the final season of The Boys premieres. The Boys is one kind of superhero genre action comedy series that I have loved. It has been consistent throughout the seasons for me. I even really enjoyed the spinoff series Gen V, and they got another spinoff series Vault Rising that's coming out, and so I'm excited to see what happens in this final season. It looks like it's gonna be nuts. On April 12th, The Zone of Interest comes out. On April 15th, another Prime original movie, Balls Up. This is one I think is going to be awful, but it stars Mark Wahlberg and Paul Walter Hauser, who I love Paul Walter Hauser, but they play a pair that is marketing a new condom that goes over both your cock and balls. And they want to be the main sponsorship for the World Cup. And they cause a mishap at the World Cup, causes Brazil to lose, and chaos ensues. They have to outrun just a whole country that's mad at them for ruining their country's chances at greatness. So, I don't know. The trailer looks ridiculous. The premise is ridiculous. It's probably going to be ridiculous. Like, this is one that if you were to partake in illicit drugs, you'd probably enjoy it more. On April 17th, the revival of American Gladiators on Prime Video debuts, and the 2025 version of The Running Man with Glenn Powell. On April 20th, a new adult animated series, Kevin, comes out. It's a house cat who kind of decides he wants to move on from things. Aubrey Plaza's in it. Jason Schwartzman plays said house cat Kevin and wrote original song for the kind of jingle. And that jingle, like the intro, the title card, that's the only thing that we have seen for the show so far. On April 21st, The Conjuring Last Rites comes to Prime Video, and April 24th, Regretting You comes out. Colleen Hoover novel adaptation in a long string of them. Debuts on Prime Video. Let's hop over to HBO Max. They dropped a few things on April 1st, including most of the Alien franchise. So we have Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien vs. Predator, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, and then we also have The Bounty Hunter, if you need some Gerard Butler and Jennifer Aniston action. The Devil Wears Prada, which we've got the sequel coming out later this year. The entire Mummy series with Brendan Fraser and some of the spin-offs. And then Twister, the original. On April 3rd, Alien Romulus comes out, which I really enjoyed Alien Romulus. It was my favorite kind of Alien universe movie in quite a while. And I really enjoyed Predator Badlands, which you can check out on Disney+. It released last month on there. On April 4th, Game Night, if you need some Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman action. On April 9th, the Season 5 premiere of Hacks comes out. On April 10th, Christie, the Christy Martin biopic with Sydney Sweeney releases. And then on April 12th, Season 3 of Euphoria comes out. Now, in the world of the series, there has been a 5-year time jump since the events of Season 2. In real time, there's been a 4-year time jump since Season 2 ended. So pretty damn close. It looks like this is cranking up the action and absurdity with the aged up characters out on their own, no longer in high school. It kind of opens up that world to a whole bunch of new things. Coleman Domingo comes into this season, so I'm excited for where the series goes. On April 14th, a documentary on Dean Potter, titled The Dark Wizard, comes out. Dean Potter was a kind of groundbreaking and divisive climber, doing some free solo stuff. So all the stuff that Alex Honnold has been doing with the Netflix live stream, kind of some of that were him and Dean Potter been in some competition, and that's highlighted in the trailer for this documentary. So I am intrigued by this, even though I'm not a big documentary guy. It looks like it kind of goes into the psyche in ways a little bit controversial as well. On April 21st, No Hard Feelings, the movie with Jennifer Lawrence, comes out. I enjoyed this for what it was, so you can check that out if you haven't yet. It came out a few years ago. On April 23rd, a new series Half Man comes out. This stars Richard Gadd and Jamie Bell, and it's an HBO original. Not much. They haven't released a trailer for it yet, so I can't dive into how it looks, but I'm intrigued. I do like me some Jamie Bell. And then on April 24th, Timothée Chalamet and Marty Supreme, the A24 movie, nominated for so many things at all the award shows, and only winning some of them. But Marty Supreme, you can check it out on HBO Max. Your time has come. Over on Hulu, on the 1st, today, they've dropped The Beekeeper, Big Daddy, The Day After Tomorrow, 50 First Dates, Date Night, The Devil Wears Prada over on here as well, In Time, Napoleon Dynamite, if you need to break out some nostalgia and a good gosh. Night at the Museum, the entire series of Night at the Museum. Not Another Teen Movie, which is one of my favorites of the kind of spoof movies from back in the day. Kind of captures that nostalgia, some Chris Evans action in there. Shark Tale, which is a good old Will Smith animated fish movie that I quite enjoyed as a child. I forget what the ladyfish's name is. I think it's played by like Rihanna or something. I don't know. I just know. Enjoyed it as a kid. It is for kids. Would I enjoy it now? Probably not. It's no Goofy movie, but the entire Shrek series also comes out. That doesn't count the Puss in Boots ones, just the Shrek ones, the Ogre one. And then 21 and 22 Jump Street with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, which are some of my favorite comedies of the last 10, 15 years. I guess I don't know how long it's been since those came out now. On April 3rd, a Hulu original movie, Pizza Movie, comes out. This seems like the old kind of stoner. It gives me kind of Tenacious D, Pick of Destiny vibes. Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things. Him and his friend face an epic journey to climb 2 flights of stairs to get their pizza delivery after taking some illicit drugs that were called mints. And they're extremely high, so it has those trippy visuals, kind of staple of those kind of movies. Kind of like, I mean, Dude, Where's My Car isn't explicitly that, but it feels like that. And so kind of it gives those vibes in the trailer. It's a Hulu original movie. Out on the 3rd. On April 4th, Primitive War comes out. Jeremy Piven is in it. It's a Vietnam 1968. Soldiers face dinosaurs in the jungle. So, mix dinosaurs and Vietnam. Just what everyone has been clamoring for. Brad told me, not very good, but hey, I'll watch some dinosaur stuff if it's streaming on something I already have. On April 7th, Bad Boys Ride or Die comes out. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the new Bad Boys movie, which they were talking about. They were supposed to be doing a spinoff of it with Vanessa Hudgens and everything. So she just had a kid. I don't know if that's delayed it, but we'll see if that actually happens or not. On April 8th, new Hulu original series debuts, The Testaments. Now, this is a sequel to The Handmaid's Tale. It's based on Margaret Atwood's follow-up novel to The Handmaid's Tale, so you can check that out. On April 10th, a 4-episode special event, Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair. So kind of picking up with those characters where it left off 10, 20 years later. All 4 episodes drop on the 10th, so you can check it out. No word on if this is truly a one-time thing or if it does well, if they will try to bring it back for a regular series. Who knows? Time will tell. On April 14th, another documentary that kind of intrigued me is Sky King, Panic in the Sky. This is about the man who stole a commercial jetliner. It features interviews with the family, air traffic controllers, as well as some of the air traffic control recordings from that day. And it looks kind of intense, and seeing kind of everything that happened, I'm intrigued by it. And then the entire Hunger Games series also drops on the 14th. On April 24th, No Other Choice, a foreign language film from Park Chan-wook, who did Old Boy, that I heard nothing but great things about, comes to Hulu. And then on April 25th, Good Boy, the horror movie that is told from the dog's perspective, and the dog that I'm blanking on the dog's name truly was a good boy because he has won awards during this award season over actual actors. April 29th, Silent Night debuts, which who doesn't need a good old Christmas movie drop in April. And then on April 30th, A Haunting in Venice. So this stars Kenneth Branagh as Agatha Christie's detective Hercule Poirot. It's based on Agatha Christie's Halloween Party novel. There's an apostrophe between both the E's. I don't know how you actually are supposed to pronounce that. I haven't read the novel. That's just what they tell me. Just read what's on the teleprompter, like Ron Burgundy. And then Disney Plus, the only thing I'm really calling out there is on April 6th, Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord debuts. This is an animated series kind of building on the animation style from the Clone Wars and then the Bad Batch. It takes place after the Clone Wars, follows Darth Maul, who, if you've only watched the live action movies, you're like, he was cut in half in the Phantom Menace. That's true, but he's been revived with robot legs through the animated series. So we'll see. This looks like it's got a little bit more of a dark adult vibe versus the Clone Wars, which was originally made for kids. And you'd have some of those darker episodes, but it was few and far between. This, with the level and improvements to the animation, does look like it's a little darker and for older kids, but primarily probably for adults. We're the ones who care more. Over on Peacock, they dropped a ton of stuff today on April 1st, so I am going to fire through it. 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, the entire Blade series with Wesley Snipes, Airplane, the 40-year-old version, Crocodile Dundee, Dazed and Confused, Dead Poets Society, Dark Waters, Face Off, Gangs of New York, Hot Tub Time Machine, Interstellar, The Italian Job, Jesus Christ Superstar over on Peacock as well. Kung Fu Panda, the entire series. Liar Liar, The Prince of Egypt, which, I'm pausing. I had Brad's daughter. She was in town. My parents were watching her for a week. And so she wanted to come over and do a musical movie night with Uncle Matt and watch a musical. So I let her pick between Shrek the Musical or the stage version of Prince of Egypt, and she wanted to do the stage version of Prince of Egypt. So we watched it. She absolutely loved it. We recorded a mini podcast episode to send to Brad and his wife, and they loved it. She had a blast, and it was fun. I was glad I watched it before because I have no kids. So I am not cut out to watch a movie with children constantly. And I've made that decision for life. Vasectomy 2025, 24. Who knows when I got it. But steps have been taken. But I enjoy being a fun uncle. Pop some popcorn. She had made cookies and brought them. It was a great time seeing her enjoy it and just be so locked in enjoying musicals. It's fun. There's hope for the next generation. And she did Matilda last year. They're doing Into the Woods this year, so maybe that's why it was in the back of my head on last week's episode when I talked about Into the Woods Jr. only being the first act. Anyways, that version is not what's coming on here. The animated DreamWorks one from back when I was a child is what dropped on the first. Picking back up, Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping with Andy Samberg, Jorma Tacome. Love this movie. One of my favorite movies. Pulp Fiction, Red Eye, Road Trip, Scarface, Space Jam, Step Brothers, Straight Outta Compton, which is one of my all-time favorite music biopics. There Will Be Blood, This Is the End, Tommy Boy, the Transformers series, Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2, and When Harry Met Sally. So lots coming to Peacock this month. If those movies intrigue you, you are getting your value this month. April 3rd, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 makes its streaming debut. And The Real Housewives of Rhode Island makes its series premiere. Now, I tried to get into Housewives sporadically as I've had time. The well-established ones, too far behind. I started out Salt Lake City, was obsessed with season 1, dove in, and then things happened. I got pulled away, distracted, too many things going on, did not watch the future seasons. And so now I feel like I'm too late to pick back up. So maybe I'll have to start out with the Real Housewives of Rhode Island and just ride that train. On April 7th, Piece by Piece, the Pharrell Lego biopic comes out. And then on April 9th, a new Peacock original series with Matthew McFadden and Elizabeth Banks is The Miniature Wife. Kind of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids vibes, except he shrinks his wife and she's in a little dollhouse. So looks interesting, fun little comedy, intriguing. I like both Matthew McFadden and Elizabeth Banks, so excited for that. On April 15th, Love Island Beyond the Villa debuts. I don't know how I feel about this. I never watched the first season of Beyond the Villa, and I don't know that I'll dive into this. It just feels a little bit more overproduced. Give me the regular Love Island. I don't really care that much what they're doing after the Villa at this point. On April 17th, the documentary The Heartbreak Kid Becoming Shawn Michaels, following professional wrestler Shawn Michaels, comes out. And on April 21st, Nosferatu, which I absolutely love the movie. And then April 26th, Five Nights at Freddy's, the first one, comes back to Peacock. Over on Paramount Plus, our final streamer before we jump to theaters, they also had a good-sized drop today on the 1st. They dropped Airplane and Airplane 2, the sequel, Arrival, Big Jake for some classic John Wayne stuff, Catch Me If You Can, Drillbit Taylor, G.I. Joe The Rise of Cobra and G.I. Joe Retaliation, Galaxy Quest, Gangs of New York, He's Just Not That Into You, I Love You Man, which Jason Segel, Paul Rudd are great in this bromance comedy movie, the entire Jackass series, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Jeff Who Lives at Home, if you need a little more serious Jason Segel action, Paranormal Activity, the entire series, Saving Private Ryan, Shutter Island, which I enjoy, Leonardo DiCaprio, a nice psychological thriller, Small Soldiers, which is also a nostalgic 90s throwback for me growing up, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Terminator Dark Fate, Terminator Genesis, The Truman Show, Total Recall, True Grit, Wayne's World, and Wayne's World 2. So Wayne's World coming to a couple streamers this month. On April 4th, a docuseries made for March. It follows the Kansas Jayhawks and the Michigan Wolverines basketball teams throughout the season. Michigan still in the finals of March Madness right now. I believe they had their Elite Eight game and are through to the Final Four. Do not quote me on that, though. On April 28th, true crime docuseries My Killer Father, The Green Hollow Murders comes out. This one follows Lucy Studi, who claims her late father murdered upwards of 50 people. And it has interviews with her family, her sister who doesn't believe it, and kind of dives into these unsolved murders. So I'm intrigued by that one and what it will uncover. The premise sounds great. Okay. Let's hop on over to theaters. A few decent things come to theaters this month. This weekend on April 3rd, The Drama with Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. It looks like an innocuous kind of comedy, but in the trailers, Zendaya reveals a secret and the worst thing she ever did after playing what they thought was a harmless game with another couple, and it changes their relationship completely. So intrigued by this. Spoilers are floating around on what the actual secret is. I don't know if it's true, but man, could be a wild movie if so. On April 10th, next Friday, Beast comes out. This stars Daniel McPherson as an MMA legend who's pulled back into the cage, and he's coached up by Russell Crowe. So Russell Crowe continuing his trend of doing not high-profile movies. This is not a high-profile movie. I only called it out first because it starts with a B, and I went alphabetical for some reason. Next up is Faces of Death from IFC Films. It has Barbie Ferreira from the earlier seasons of Euphoria and Declan Montgomery from Stranger Things. It's a reimagining of the 1978 banned movie Faces of Death. Barbie Ferreira plays a content moderator who comes across videos of people reproducing death scenes from the old videos. So it looks like a very intense horror that will not be for everyone. And then on a lighthearted rom-com note is You, Me, and Tuscany. It stars Halle Bailey of the live-action Little Mermaid and Regé-Jean Page from Bridgerton Season 1 as a little fun, lighthearted. Halle Bailey plays a woman who goes to Tuscany after a man she met said that his villa over there he just leaves it empty. So she decides to go check it out. And then, in case of mistaken identity, she is believed to be engaged to him, and hijinks ensue. Who doesn't love a good hijinks in a rom-com? April 17th, Lorne, a biography documentary about Lorne Michaels, the creator of Saturday Night Live, comes to theaters, as well as Lee Cronin's The Mummy. This is a very different adaptation than we've seen of The Mummy in the past. It is a horror movie about a couple whose daughter was missing for 8 years, and then she's found 8 years later in a 3,000-year-old sarcophagus, and dark, haunting, supernatural things start happening. Bus Boys with Theo Vaughn and David Spade. This movie, I did laugh once in the trailer, but ultimately it looks like Joe Dirt kind of dumb humor vibes. If that's your thing, this is a movie for you this month. And then Normal. Bob Odenkirk stars as a temporary small-town sheriff that uncovers a dark mystery. It also stars Lena Headey from Game of Thrones and 300. And so it looks like it'll be a fun action movie. Kind of gave me a little bit of the Nobody vibes. And then also April 17th, Four Kids Walk Into a Bank is supposed to release. It stars Liam Neeson, Kaylee Cowan, and Teresa Palmer. It's an adaptation of a graphic novel, but there are no trailers out yet that I could see. So I don't know if this is actually releasing on the 17th or if it's getting pushed. On April 24th, last two movies of the month. First one is Over Your Dead Body. It's from Jorma Tacome from The Lonely Island, as I referenced up in Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping. And it stars Samara Weaving and Jason Segel. They're a dysfunctional couple that retreats to a cabin to kind of repair their relationship, but they each secretly have plans to kill each other. It looks like a really fun kind of action comedy. I love both Samara Weaving and Jason Segel, so I'm excited to check this one out. And then maybe the biggest one of the month is Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic starring Jafar Jackson, Michael Jackson's nephew, as Michael Jackson, kind of following the things that he dealt with in his life and telling primarily his early younger years, if not exclusively his early younger years. I don't know how deep they are going in it. The trailers look magical and kind of mesmerizing, really capturing his life. Jafar looks like he does an amazing job at it. So I'll be interested to check that out. Michael Jackson, maybe not the greatest guy. So I'm a little bit torn on that, but we will see. He was a brilliant musician, and who can argue about the greatness of Billie Jean and Thriller? You just can't. You just can't. All right, that does it for what's coming to streaming in theaters this month. Drop in the comments what you're most excited for. If there's anything I missed that you're excited for, let me know. And then after you comment that, go click subscribe and turn on notifications on YouTube. Make sure that you're following and downloading episodes on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to them. And then head over to Instagram at DownOnceMorePod and give us a follow over there. Why don't you throw a couple likes on the last few posts while you're at it? Let's grow it. I appreciate all of you for being here. If you have, I'm thinking I may make the sunrise episode if I can keep my allergies from killing me. I may make that a monthly thing. Maybe that'll just be my random bullshitting episode where I just pull things out of my ass, not literally, you sickos, and just have some random topics that I will talk about, and you'll have the sunrise in the background. So maybe that'll be a monthly thing. If you want to see that, drop it in the comments below and see if there's some things you want me to talk about with no notes. Put that in there. I will be a man of integrity and make no notes and wing it, truly. So next week, no clue what I'm going to do. So stay tuned for that. That's why you turn on notifications, so you can have that rush, that surprise Wednesday morning, or at midnight if you listen on audio platforms, to listen and discover what we will be talking about that week. Drop your ideas in the comments. Message me on DM. I'm always open to new ideas and feedback. So thank y'all. Love y'all. Let's have a great April. And don't forget to go down once more. Later.